In the last video, we looked at how to grade writing, and I concluded that it's important for me to grade the entire writing process that the writer goes through. And we introduced this scale, but today's video is about the 3P's, and they are created by this guy, Steve Peha. You can go to his website and download the 3P grading system for free to learn more about it. But it basically works like this. The first P is called participation. Now, the world cares about participation. The world cares about engagement. It doesn't matter if you're talking about your job or a hobby you do or even a relationship at home. Engagement or participation or trying really hard matters. It's very important. And so I want to build a classroom. I want to build a teaching style, build assessments that foster good participation, a variety of participation, a real world set of participations, if you will. And so when I do this, it sort of paves the way for learning, as I'll show you. So I'm going to create this little participation list that I expect my students to do. So I expect my students to participate by trying hard, drafting pieces of writing, asking good questions, maybe researching, reading good writing, tracking class discussions or class lessons, conferencing with me, taking my advice when I give it to them. I want them to share their writing. I want to give feedback to them, and I want them to give feedback to others. I want them to assess themselves or give themselves feedback, and eventually I'd like them to publish online. So those are all the ways that I want my student to participate. And I feel that if they do that, they're paving the way for learning. Participation is actually essential to my grading system. I want to give them value or give them credit for participating. And I know participation is important. Just imagine writing like a welding class and answer this question. How important is it that if you want a student to become the best welder possible, how important is it that the student, let's say, welds every day? How important is it that a student participates in welding class if you care about, getting better at welding or learning how to weld better, right? You would say it's absolutely essential. And so that's what I'm getting at here in this writing class. And participation is essential to pave the way for students' learning. So a student chooses a grade for participation based on evidence. They're tracking, monitoring, they're arguing as to why they deserve a grade that they do. And then I sit down and I agree or disagree with them, again, looking at the evidence that's been gathered. And that P gets a grade, an A, B, C, or D kind of idea. The next P I will explain to you by showing you some pictures that my daughter created when she was in grade 8. A couple others that she's created, again, in grade 8. These two she made with chalk, and they're really big, and they take up large sections of her walls at home. Here she is painting on the wall in her bedroom without even asking. She's an art fanatic. She loves to create art. Now, once she got into grade 9, she was so excited to take an art class, and this is her report card from grade 9. And in math she got 86, in science she got 92, social studies she got 89, and there's her art class at the bottom. She got a 97%. It's her best mark. And when she got home with this report card, I asked her, how was art class? And she wasn't excited at all. And I asked her why, and she said, and she's humble. She's not like me. She said, I didn't learn anything new. And so she had already experienced every piece of art that was introduced in that art class. This is what progress is all about. The teacher didn't know, right? The teacher didn't realize that. And that's what happens sometimes when we just have a curriculum and we pound through this curriculum and we cover all of our stuff and give our tests and assignments, and we're not even always sure that our students are learning something. They may just, get good grades on an assignment or bad grades on an assignment, and sort of the learning is sometimes irrelevant. So with the 3P's, making progress or learning is essential. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the way I teach, change the way I assess, so that I ensure that learning happens as best that I can. I can monitor learning and make sure the students can see progress being made so that they can talk about it And then, of course, we value it. We give value to that progress. So what I do is I start posing some questions. What do you know now that you didn't know before? Or what can you do now that you couldn't do before? Have you become faster or more efficient at something? Are you participating in ways that you weren't before? That's making progress. That's getting better. And then, of course, compare your initial work with your current work and explain, prove how you have improved. That's progress. So as students answer those, again, they choose a grade for themselves, and then I sit down and agree or disagree with that grade. So now they have a grade for participation and a grade for progress. The last one is performance, and that's just the quality of the work done, if the work's done good and correct. And so we grade for that as well. So all I do is ask the students to compare and self-assess their workmanship with the samples and criteria that I give them. So if we're talking about writing, I will give them good samples of writing, and I will give them criteria of what good writing is all about, and they compare, and then of course they grade themselves. And once again, using logic, they're going to sit down with me, and I will agree or disagree with that grade. There's the 3P's: participation, progress, and performance. The student grades each one. I can set a weight for each of those P's, and then I'm going to conference with the students and eventually agree on a grade based on the evidence, and that's the grade the student gets. And that, I think, is the best way to capture the entire writing process and grade the writer going through that writing process. Thanks for listening. More to come.